Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by the ground control Cyclops Brewer from Voga Coffee, the amazing brewer that is really just changing the game for brewing coffee, for batch brewed coffee. The SCA award-winning technology extracts more than you ever thought possible from the coffee. It gives you unprecedented control. It's like getting to know your coffee all over again and providing your customers with a next level experience of quality from your batch brew. But it's more than a batch brewer because it also can brew hot chocolate, tea, make batch iced lattes and cold brew. So it increases your quality, but also your versatility. You know, so many of us are pivoting and need versatility from our staff and from our equipment too. And the ground control Cyclops Brewer provides exactly that. So if you want to up the quality of your coffee and simultaneously increase the productivity and versatility of your staff and your coffee bar, then I would seriously look into getting the ground control brewer for your shop. To find out more information, go visit them on their website, vogacoffee.com. That's VOGA coffee.com. This episode is also brought to you by Espressly. Espressly works with independent coffee shops to help them develop their own mobile apps. They're beautifully designed, they're elegantly functional, and it's a branded mobile app for your business that creates a great connection between you and your customers because you put so much effort into creating the experience that your customers have when they walk into your business. But a lot of times you just give up that experience when you go to a convenience item like a mobile app. Well, that's what Espressly is solving for you. They're combining that wonderful branded experience with the convenience of a mobile app. This is a no-risk model where there's no setup or development fees. It integrates with Square. It has a drive-through payment scanner, receipt and label printing capabilities. It stores the value in the app, and you own the data yourself. So this is a win-win, and Espressly exists to serve independent coffee shops like yours to bring together convenience of mobile ordering with the experience your customers know and love. So I'd highly encourage you to check them out. If you want your own amazing branded mobile app, go to the website espressly.co. That's espressly.co. So I want to talk to you today about the dark roast night of the soul. This came up because in my conversation with James Hoffmann, we were talking about how over time we've changed the way that we view coffee. And initially we had a lot of stipulations about the way coffee should be enjoyed. We're very heavy-handed with people who dared to sin against the various coffee commandments that we had for sugar and cream and dark roast coffee and stuff like that. In my older age now, I have softened on the edges, and I have, I'd like to think, become wiser. At least more of the gray hair tells me that I'm wiser, I guess. But I'm not nearly as snobby and gatekeepy, if you will, as I used to be. Because as I said in the conversation with James, I used to think if you had coffee and food in your coffee shop, if you had food there, you were sold out. Like you weren't just doing coffee, you weren't doing coffee at all, in my opinion. And I know that sounds really silly now to say, but we get so carried away in our initial introduction to coffee that we can't imagine life outside of our current paradigm of what that is. The structures that hold us together as coffee professionals when we first start, in our mind at least, are the things that are basically keeping us in coffee. And when somebody challenges us, like they have a shot of espresso that runs 2 seconds longer than what our trainer told us, we have to throw it out. We can't even taste it. Don't even look at it. It might invade your soul. Just get rid of it. Put it outside. Burn it. We tend to start off with this dogma that protects us. And what is it protecting us from? Well, usually it's just protecting us from that feeling that we don't know, or that feeling that there's more to know and it's so big that we can't comprehend it. And I'm all for incremental, maturity in the industry. And this is why I'm talking about this today. At a certain point in your coffee journey, you're going to go from this dogmatic, very narrow view of coffee that you have right now to a larger view of coffee. It doesn't have to be surrounding dark roast. Maybe you like dark roast. I mean, I like a good dark roast, honestly, especially now that the days are colder, they're getting colder. I'm looking forward to trying some good roasters, dark roasts out there, This has to do with that moment when you realize that you've been holding on to a dogma so long that it's actually inhibiting your growth, but you still feel so connected to it that you don't want to let it go. When you have a shot of espresso, for instance, that ruins you, that really, like I told somebody on bar the other day, who's a relatively new barista, I said, one of the best shots I ever had in my life came from a man named John Gant, who used to be the roast master for Gimme Coffee in New York, upstate New York. He at that time had roasted over 1 million pounds of coffee. And there was a 1972 Faima lever espresso machine in the back roastery. He pulled me on that antiquated piece of equipment, a single origin shot of Ethiopia that took a little bit over 1 minute to fully pull on that machine. And I was a pretty new barista at that time. This is like 2003. I was blown away because it tasted amazing. And I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't like that I couldn't explain it. But there is some comfort in the fact that I couldn't explain it. Because when you think about why we got into coffee, we do tend to get into it because of the fascination and the wonder. And then we try to regulate that wonder. We try to codify it. We try to systematize it. And we tend to try to eliminate those mysteries of coffee. There's plenty of those out there. Sometimes no explanation for why I had a shot of espresso that we didn't serve, but it was a decaf shot that was 50 seconds long. And it tasted great. I gave it to the barista next to me and it tasted amazing. Why? Science might be able to tell us. We might need to go to a high point in our state and find a particular star to chant to unlock the mysteries of why this decaf tasted so good. But it just did. And it shows us there's more to know. It doesn't show us that we shouldn't have parameters. It doesn't show us that we just give up order. But it does show us that we have more to learn. So that intersection between releasing our dogmatic assumptions about coffee and coffee shops and the way things should be done and learning something new is that dark night of the soul. It's who have I defined myself as and who am I becoming in light of this new information? My encouragement to you is to embrace those moments as often as you can and maybe try to put yourself in a position to experience those moments more often than not. Because learning that the world of coffee is much bigger than just the way we do things in our shops or our state or our country is, to me, one of the joys of coffee. It's part of the fun of being in it. And I personally look forward to the time when I have another one of those moments where I have to question something that I always believed in it, and it hurts. But then I exit on the other side, a better person, a better professional. It opens up the possibility for us to do what I've said we need to do more of, which is find the joy in somebody else enjoying something. When we are open to these moments, when we are open to more, then we can be welcoming to more people. Then we can open up the possibilities to more people through our business. And ultimately, the more of these types of things we go through, I think it helps us love each other and coffee a little bit more. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.